with up to 90% of its population living in poverty. It's also one of the poorest. In a country that adheres strictly to traditional values, women are expected to stay in the home. Now, a burgeoning women's movement is unlocking the potential of women, helping them earn money and provide for their families, transforming their economic and social status. Kassala, East Sudan, is one of the country's largest towns. Surrounding it are many farms that, when in season, flood the markets with an abundance of fruit and vegetables. Now is a time of plenty, but during the dry season, the cost of basic foods can quadruple, and as prices rise, so does people's vulnerability. To safeguard against this, Intermediate Technology Development Group, ITDG, came up with an idea which combines seasonal surplus with women's skills in a training program which has implications for women all over the country.
Women, instinctively, they are involved in processing of food. But we realized that we could add to their indigenous knowledge and make the skill more marketable. We thought that by training the women in processing mangoes and tomatoes and other products, they could, during the production season, preserve these foods so that they can use it themselves off-season.
Zakia Bashir was trained by ITDG in food processing in 1998. She was one of 28 women who attended the course.
Thanks be to God, our situation has greatly improved. From this work in particular, we have benefited a great deal. We work, we process it, we sell it, and we benefit from it.
Zakia belongs to a group of 16 women whose husbands are all low-paid workers at Kassala prison. The women work collectively or for individual reward. When it's together, they split the profit equally. Business is booming. Zakia's group is one of the subgroups represented by the Kassala Women's Development Association, or WDA, an umbrella organisation that administers a revolving fund to which women can apply for loans each week. Representatives from each group meet here every week. The regular teaching sessions continue as more and more women sign up to learn the techniques, like drying tomatoes.
In the old days, women used to stay at home with nothing to do and their lives were empty. The women have benefited from this project foremost because they can earn an income for themselves, and instead of just being consumers, they're now producers.
Putting these skills into practice means increased food security for the family and the chance to earn money by selling the surplus. But it's not always straightforward. Trading in the bustling central market is a male preserve. On a stretch of road further out, women trade informally, risking police harassment. Now, a group of women with licensed stalls indicates the shape of things to come and is a testament to the political power of the Kassala WDA in the face of tradition. But the handful of stalls currently licensed is not enough. The president of the Women's Development Association is meeting with the local authority to demand licenses for many more women to have market stalls.
The result that we got out of that meeting is that the local authority has no objection to allocating places for us in the market and will help us with the licenses. They want us to concentrate on the smaller markets since the main one is so crowded.
We started by implementing an agro-processing training project. The two objectives, the food security and income generation. Later we realized that we managed to build community-based organization for women. We call them the Women Development Associations. And we realized that this could be a nucleus for building a real women movement.
Absolutely, we are not going to just to sit and wait for somebody else to come to rescue us. Women, they're doing everything now. we are selling our minds, our abilities. So we will work as welders, as blacksmiths, in the universities they studied all the different type of engineering.
The income-generating benefits of the program mean that this women's movement is being welcomed even in rural communities.
Before, we didn't go to the doctors, and we just used medicine bought from shops or neighbours. If someone had a fever, we'd diagnose it ourselves. But now we can take children to the doctor because we can afford a proper examination.
A less tangible but equally important benefit is the access that women have gained to the authorities by coming together as a unified body through their local WDA.
If we have a problem, we have a head of the group and we can go to her. She has the authority to take our problems to the people concerned.
In turn, the women's groups provide a forum in which other issues can be discussed. Here, a speaker from the Department of Forestry explains the importance of trees in the environment and warns about the consequences of deforestation. In more remote areas, the food processing idea is gaining momentum for practical reasons. Here in the village of El Gerba, refrigerators are rare. Any alternative is welcome.
This work is particularly important in the villages because we would like to form income-producing families. So, for example, the household can participate in the local economy.
With regard to drying, we depend on the seasons for vegetables. Sometimes there are many available, but there are no fridges in rural areas, so we can use drying to keep vegetables for seasons when none are available.
Gedarif is Kassala's neighbouring state. This group in the Wad El Kaber area of Gedarif town has already had some training, but the women have clubbed together to pay for more, hoping in the long run it'll save them money.
When the commodity is expensive, we do not buy it. But when the price falls down, we buy vegetables and dry them. We put the vegetables in meal-sized bags. We basically help the women in a way that lightens their financial burden and expenditure on the family.
Their investment in learning new skills is changing the lives of these women.
Before this project, I was a housewife with no income, but after getting our training, we formed a society here in Wad Al Kaber with 25 members. After we registered our group with the main group, we have grown to over 60 members, 65, and all of us have benefited.
The core activity of food processing generates much needed income, but as part of a wider move towards independence, some of the women are learning how to approach donor organisations directly in order to fund projects. The Council's Twinning Office is a point of contact between the Women's Development Association and potential overseas donors. But these women have a determination to succeed with or without help, and regardless of traditional roles. It's no mean feat in a country where women traditionally have no economic status and the men keep a tight rein even on household finance.
Our training has helped us a great deal in writing proposals and getting them approved. Mr. Mohammed Tom here has helped us by facilitating things. Each group wrote down its activities and aims, and when the plans were agreed, Mr. Mohammed Tom helped us get financial backing.
This woman has no need for funders, and the success of her thriving business is spreading benefits throughout the community.
After taking the course with Intermediate Technology in 1997, I worked as a trainer training women in 12 districts. Then I started my own business, making pasta and sweets. I concentrate on dairy products because demand is high, to the extent that my yogurt is competing with the Cabo brand. Cabo was popular in Khartoum and Gedarif, but people who were buying Cabo are now buying my yogurt. I have 5 boys. They go to the markets, they sell my products, and settle up at the end of the day.
As 3 boys leave with more of Noor's sweets, the other 2 return, having sold out of dairy products. Tomorrow's goods are already in production, ensuring an income not just for the boss, but for her network of sellers as well. It's a tribute to her marketing skills that Noor's products compete with national brands for space in local supermarkets. But for the poorest people on the edge of town, marketing is still a real problem. Here, thousands of people, displaced by Sudan's ongoing civil war, struggle to make a living.
Our situation here is very bad. We don't have any jobs. The only thing we can do is make liquor, but the government comes sometimes, and we can be put in prison or fined 700,000 Sudanese pounds.
The women here have recently been trained in food processing, but it's the textiles and handicrafts that have been more successful for them.
We learned how to dye the material and do tailoring. When the people learned how to make dresses and dyed them at home, it wasn't like the food. The clothes went very well and sold quickly. The money we raised from this, we were able to put in the bank.
Displaced women across Sudan are enthusiastically expanding their food processing activities into making handicrafts. But these often remote communities are in need of help in getting their products to the marketplace.
Usually within the development work, marketing is usually the weakest area. We are now putting marketing as top priority for the work in the new year. And we are going to train women in marketing skills. And we are going to try and facilitate their access to the markets in Gadarif by developing market outlets for them, and also like improving the packaging.
Using Sudan's capital city of Khartoum as a base, the simple food processing techniques pioneered in Kassala are being taught nationally by a woman who has made a career out of spreading the word. Layla's teaching skills have taken her from Kassala, where she began by processing her own food, to her position as a freelance trainer. As well as working directly for women's groups, she's also contracted by some of the country's biggest development agencies. She's confident that the success of food processing in Sudan can be repeated elsewhere.
It has even opened doors for women outside Sudan. There are women here dealing with female diplomats through the Women's Union, so they can transfer their experience to neighbouring countries.
One way the WDAs are promoting their work throughout the country is at the Khartoum International Fair. All 13 are displaying their goods, a practical example of how the WDA Apex can make things happen.
It was a surprise. Instead of being only agro-processing group selling foods, they thought of contributing to the overall women development work. This became a holistic women development work.
With over 1,000 women trained, there's no stopping the women's movement. But as Sarah Abu, a leader in the Women's Union, says, this doesn't mean they abandon their culture.
With all the respect to the tradition, but we are not going to have the tradition to stop us not to do decent work, to survive, and to develop our country, because we have also responsibility towards our country.
We have trained lots of women in technical and administrative skills. Now this course has given people confidence in technical skills, but also skills like bookkeeping and chairing meetings.
There are now 13 WDAs throughout Sudan, 6 in the east and 7 in the west. Over 9,000 women have been trained, and in the next 12 months, ITDG hopes to train 6 more women's groups.
My personal opinion is that this project is guaranteed to continue, even if intermediate technology stops supporting it.